last week was great, right? We had big games, we had big hits, we had big touchdowns, blowouts, close games. We had Friday night crowds again. And the good news is we get it again this week and pretty much every week for the rest of the fall. Welcome into Quick Slant from the Daytona Beach News Journal and the St. Augustine Record. I'm Chris Vinel. I'm here with my cohort, Chris Boyle. Chris, how we doing after week one of high school football around here?
Factoring in that and all the rain delays at the Speedway this past weekend, I would say the word I would use to describe is tired.
Do you need a nap? Because I need a nap.
I haven't got one yet. You don't really nap when you have two kids. I mean, this is a lesson for future Chris Vinel. But you know, we're making it through, and Tim Horton's coffee's pulling it through and saving the day for me right now.
Good stuff. Well, this was my first week of Florida high school football, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I had that Thursday night blowout where Daytona won by 69 points in a shutout, and then over Winter Springs, and then Friday night I was up in St. Augustine and saw a Bulls win over St. Augustine 34-13. I know you had a couple of big games on your slate too.
Yeah, a couple of good ones at Daytona Stadium. Seabreeze nearly came back to topple Spruce Creek. A big play for Spruce Creek on third down and long to hit a 57-yard pass with less than 2 minutes to go. And then Mainland came out of a 15-0 hole. They hit that quick strike offense is legit. Like, they put 4 touchdowns on the board in 9 snaps at one point of the game against DeLand. And if you're a DeLand fan, a lot to look forward to. I think there were some definite positive signs to get out of that game too.
Oh, I think that's going to be a good football team in DeLand as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to Thursday. We're starting off with the biggest game of the week right out of the gate.
We sure are. 1 versus 2 in the new power rankings for this week. Mainland hosting Flagler Palm Coast. There's so much to digest here. I mean, of course, it's a rematch from last year in which Flagler beat Mainland. I think it was 17-13. There's the Travis Rowland versus his old team, team he coached for 4 years. Both guys coaching their alma maters, with Robert Paxi at FPC grad, Rowland a Mainland grad, and Mainland wanting to reassert itself as the powerhouse in Volusia and Flagler. And it starts with beating FPC. I think this is a really good football team that loves to run the ball. It's going to fly around defensively. Rodney Hill had 17 tackles in week 1. 15 of them were solo, which is bonkers to me. And then, that rushing attack, I think we're around 300 yards against Sewanee. For Mainland, they went 300 yards through the air. And you really did see that sort of proficiency from DeMarcus Creasy, James Randall, Ajay Harrell, that they are going to trouble even the very best secondary. So that's going to be a tough assignment for Flagler, but I've seen them guard some guys pretty tough. It's going to be a really fun matchup, I think, and kind of a coin toss type of game, if you ask me, as far as the outcome's concerned.
If there's one thing that I love, it's storylines, and that game has plenty of them.
Rich.
Plenty of them, and I'll be out there on Thursday night.
Compelling and rich.
Yes, correct. Let's go to Friday, where we have, of course, more storylines. Bartram Trail and Seabreeze is a big one.
First of 2 consecutive trips to Daytona Beach for Bartram Trail. They will be at the stadium each of the next 2 weeks. They visit Mainland in the 3 versus 1 game the week from Friday. So we'll be back here talking about them again this time next week. But, yeah, I think for Seabreeze, the offense is still going to be a work in progress as it goes along. It looked like Zelly Hayworth was the guy. They started him. He ran for a touchdown in that game. He was playing late into the game. Defensively, they were much better against the run than I was expecting against Spruce Creek, given their size. But they sold out to cover the run. They're probably going to have to do it again here against Bartram Trail, a very read-based offense. The quarterback run game is a big part of it with Riley Trujillo, who ran for a 39-yard touchdown against Ponte Vedra. Lathan Biddle between the tackles, a few other guys on the perimeter. And then the defense has been very stingy. They've allowed 7 points in 8 quarters so far this fall, including a shutout of Riverside in the preseason. So tough assignment. I do think Bartram's a significant favorite in this game, given kind of the experience gap at quarterback in particular.
You just mentioned Ponte Vedra a moment ago, and they're matching up with Florida High from Tallahassee. Are you looking at anything particular in that game, or what are you expecting in that game?
Well, I'm expecting that Ponte Vedra is going to have a pretty good scouting report on Florida High, considering that their head coach, Steve Price, is a Tallahassee guy. He's from North Florida Christian, so he'll certainly know the opponent in Florida High. This is a team that the Tallahassee Democrat thinks can win a state championship. So when you look at the two suburban draw, there's a reason to believe in this team. They've got a lot of key weapons back from a year ago. For Ponte Vedra, I think defensively they were impressive again last week. They limited Bartram to just 13 points. They were in that game late. Offensive identity for Ponte Vedra is going to be the big thing for me. Do they stick with Nathan Bunkoski at quarterback, which worked last week? Do they go with more of a traditional looking offense? Can they do it against a different opponent? Was it a 1 week aberration type of thing? I think that's more or less what I'd be curious about if I'm Ponte Vedra.
Nice Creekside. What are you watching there?
If Nice can bounce back. For Nice, kind of a humbling opening game. The 10 defensive starters are brand new for that team. Marcus Stokes was sick during the week and missed about a big stretch of that game, a couple of quarters in the game after taking a collision with South Carolina commit Grayson Howard. So it's about resilience, I think, for Nice, how they bounce back and respond against a Creekside team that beat them last year. Creekside looked great out of the gate. They beat Viera, normally a pretty good team out of Brevard County, 49-0. They ran it right down their throat for over 300 yards. Their starting running back was done in a quarter. Their quarterback only had to throw 5 passes. So it's pretty much exactly what you would hope for Creekside, to get through that first game without much of an injury concern or any sort of worries as far as identity or continuity. I think they're in a good spot here. And if you have not been to that high school, if you've not been to Creekside, I think it's really one of the better atmospheres in this area. I think I was impressed when I went there last year to see them play Fleming Island. So that will be a tough place to go win a football game. And they're going to be fired up with a Gators committed quarterback coming to town.
You saw Spruce Creek last week, excuse me. They've got Lake Mary on tap. What are you looking for there?
I think to see if this passing game for Spruce Creek's the real deal. They're going to get a really good test out of Lake Mary. They've got Braden Marshall, a cornerback committed to UCF. They've got a safety in Emerald Gant, who has an offer from Wisconsin. So this is a really solid group they've got back there. Tony Kinsler, welcome to the show. Congratulations. Your name's been called here. 5 catches, over 170 yards, 3 touchdowns last week in a breakout game for the sophomore. And Isaiah Shine won the job in camp. I think kind of surprised certainly me. I think it would have probably surprised you, considering you saw them on Saturday and Luke Smith was the starter there. But they went with Shine, the newcomer from Mainland, who showed up August the 1st. And you know what? He threw for over 200 yards. It was pretty dangerous with his legs and executed, I think, at a high enough level to continue to be intrigued in what his potential is in that scheme. But yeah, Lake Mary is going to be a real good test for that team. And if they can win that game, Spruce Creek, I think you definitely start to kind of envision them as a favorite not only in their district, but potentially beyond that.
Yeah, Shine spent most of his time in the Week 0 game at defensive back, or at least that's where he starred the most. He had an interception in that game against St. Augustine. But Luke Smith did take the majority of the snaps in Week 0, and then it's flip-flopped Week 1. So we'll see what Week 2 brings. I know you've got your eye on a couple of other games. Let's quickly run through 2. Oviedo University and then Tocoi Creek and Matanzas.
Yeah, University's got back-to-back games with teams out of Oviedo. They lost to Haggerty last week. Home opener for them. I expect that they'll have a better effort. Sometimes that Week 1 to Week 2 jump can be significant, especially for a team with as many new parts as they've got. So I would expect them to be a little bit better. But this is an experienced Oviedo team that can run it right at the best of their opponents. And then Tocoi and Matanzas, I think, is definitely intriguing as well. Both those teams won in their openers. I think Tocoi probably gave up more defensively than I would have expected, facing a brand new program in Beachside. It caught me off guard for sure. Matanzas, the running game with Daquan Evans and his ability to make some plays with his arm can certainly put pose a problem. But if Tokoi wants to make a legitimate run at the playoffs, and I actually picked them in one of my bold predictions this year, I picked Tokoi to make the playoffs as a second-year school. This is a game I think they have to have, and it's a great opportunity for them to, show what they're all about.
I love the boldness from you. I love it. But we'll see if it comes true. And of course, this week would be a big step towards that. And that's all we've got for this week. Chris, where can people find you and follow along?
You can find me at Chris Boyle DBANJ on Twitter, DBNJ, not DBANJ. I don't know why I tried to throw an extra letter in there. I will actually be at DeLand this week. Their home opener against Centennial out of the Treasure Coast area, a team that wanted to face another option team before they faced Treasure Coast later in the season. So I'll be there. You will be at both the FPC-Mainland game on Thursday and the Bartram Trail Seabreeze game. We've got Meyer Lee, he'll be at Nice and Creekside, and then Ward Clayton will be at Ponte, Vedra, Florida High, among other correspondents that we've got out there. So it should be a really fun game, or fun week of games, excuse me.
Yeah, we'll be out and about. I'm at Chris A. Vinel on Twitter, and this was Quick Slant. We're going to do it again every week. Typically, it's going to come out Thursday, so be on the lookout for that going forward, and we hope you join us.